I went for the Platinum Trophy in Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition. It has 25 trophies to unlock, and I'll show you the journey from completing the story, defeating bosses, and gathering collectibles. There are many versions of Rayman included in this edition, and we'll have to play most of them to unlock the Platinum, so we'll be starting with the PlayStation version first. In Rayman's world, nature and people live in peace. The Great Platoon provides and maintains the harmony and balance in the world. However, one day, the evil Mr. Dark steals the Great Platoon and defeats Batilla the Fairy as she tries to protect it. The Electoons who used to gravitate around it lose their natural stability and scatter all over the world. Due to the unbalance in the world, hostile creatures begin to appear and imprison the Electoons they find. This is where Rayman comes in to save the day. The gameplay is simple. We're going to want to make it to the end of each level while freeing every Electoon, but currently this isn't possible due to our lack of abilities. We'll gradually obtain them from Batilla the Fairy, who will grant us a new ability each time, from allowing us to punch with our fists, to holding ledges, and using our hair as a helicopter. Our first set of levels to complete were in the Dream Forest, from running around the Pink Plant Woods, to defeating the first boss of the game, Bizit, then flying through the rest of the lagoon. I would ascend through the flooding in the Swamps of Forgetfulness, before encountering Mosquito, where I'd have to dodge his deadly fruits and dashes, then retaliate with my attacks until he was defeated, unlocking me my first trophy for completing all the levels in Dream Forest in the PSX version of Rayman. I then entered Bandland, speeding my way through Bongo Hills to perfecting my jumps in Alguero Presto, then carefully scaling through Gong Heights, and finally meeting Mr. Sax, where he produces explosive music. We'll have to dodge and hit back the smaller notes to deplete his health bar to 0, eventually unlocking my next trophy for completing all the levels in Bandland. Next up was Blue Mountains, a rocky area with difficult platforming. I found myself being pursued by the boss, and to escape I swung over deadly spikes, where I would then find myself in the hard rocks and carefully make my way through to the next level, Mr. Stone's Peaks. I needed to use the helicopter hair to cut the ropes of a falling platform to prevent myself from being crushed. This would lead me to a fight against Mr. Stone, who would throw boulders and lasers. The only way I could attack him was to punch this structure that would slam on top of him. Rinse and repeat. We would find ourselves moving forward, meeting with Batilla once more, granting us the final power-up for Rayman, unlocking a trophy as well as another for completing all the levels in Blue Mountains. Our next location was Picture City, a place filled with drawing materials, slippery ink, and deadly pencils. I got through Eraser Plains with relative ease, but was met with frustration in Pencil Pentathlon, as these platforms make you automatically jump, so you must carefully use the helicopter to move in between the gaps to make your way down. The next boss battle was against Space Mama. She wields a laser gun that varies in length, steaming pots that explode which we can duck under, and eventually we land the final hit to unlock our next trophy for completing all the levels in Picture City. Our next destination was the Caves of Scops. In Crystal Palace there were consecutive swinging jumps, then travelling to Eat at Joe's, where he gave me a firefly to help me navigate through the dark caves, where I would enter Mr. Scops stalactites, and make my way through the level before meeting the boss. With some tricky platforming, we managed to push him back into the fight arena, where I dodge his deadly claws and lead his laser attack back into him several times, where he would eventually fall, once again unlocking me a trophy for completing all the levels within the area. Mr. Dark would then kidnap and imprison Batilla, but we would not be able to enter the final level of the game, as we need to rescue every Electoon, and I was missing a lot. In fact, I never found all of them in a single level, which would be my next trophy. Some of these Electoon locations are very secretive, requiring you to hit a certain thing to spawn another thing. It felt very confusing at some points, and I resorted to a guide to find the rest. It wasn't until later I noticed these blue sparkles, which might seem to be the indicator to spawn them. Anyway, after travelling through all the levels and gathering every Electoon, it would allow me to enter the Candy Chateau. I skated on a frying pan through hills of whipped cream, to then meeting Mr. Dark, who casts a spell of summoning Bad Rayman, who copies my movement, meaning I needed to be careful in tracking back. Otherwise, colliding with him would be my demise. Eventually, battle against Mr. Dark would commence, but I lost my ability to punch. He summons fire that needs to be dodged, and as our doom seemed close, the Electoons managed to get my ability back, and Mr. Dark transforms into a mixture of the bosses we had previously fought, like Mr. Stone and Mr. Scops. I jump over his claw and throw my fist in his direction. Then it was two flying space mummers with their rapid fire lasers, where I would just repeatedly punch one until they fell, which led to the final transformation of Bizit, Mr. Sax, and Space Mummer, who would jump constantly in my direction, but I was shrunk, meaning my movement was a lot slower to dodge its attacks. After each jump, the impact would cause me to bounce up, and I would throw a punch into his face several times, and soon victory was mine. Rayman had saved the world, unlocking me a trophy. With the PSX version of Rayman completed, the trophy list would require me to beat the DOS version, and it is practically the same game with a few changes to the levels and Electoon locations. This meant everything I have just spoke about I would need to complete again. So we'll just focus on the trophies. There would be many, from triggering Rayman's fear animation after meeting Bizit for the first time. After defeating him, it would unlock another trophy, and right after this level, we fly with Bizit throughout, but we'll need to set up a save just before the level begins, as there are 2 trophies to obtain from collecting all the blue spheres and completing the level without taking damage, which turned out to be a little tougher than I thought. I missed one, I'm pretty sure I just missed one. And I took a hit. And I took a hit on the last. That was the final stretch. I think I've done it. I think I have done it. Am I gonna get 2 trophies? I hope so. There we go. Ride Bizit without taking damage. And perfect blue. Collect all of the blue spheres while riding Bizit. Nice. I also met Rayman, who needed help in getting his toga, which is directly above, and by doing so unlocks another trophy. I then punched a plum that dropped onto an enemy's head, and from now on, every trophy leading to Mr. Dark would be tied to defeating every boss, as well as collecting every Electoon. With only 2 more trophies before the platinum, they would also require beating another 2 versions of Rayman. I went with the Game Boy Advance version next. It's a little bit tedious to 100% Rayman for the 3rd time, but to my surprise, there are codes that can grant you all the power-ups and levels, which means you only must beat Candy Chateau and Mr. Dark for another trophy, saving us a few hours of doing the exact same thing we did twice before. And this can also be applied to the Game Boy Color version, which perhaps I should have played through legitimately, as it is a different adventure compared to the other ones I had just done. The fight against Mr. Dark is quite different, as he uses fire, lightning bolts, and meteors to attack, and transforms into a fast-travelling ball which will have to hit to damage him. After several rounds, he would be defeated, and we would unlock the final trophy for the platinum. Overall, Rayman can be quite a challenging game in this edition. It has some pretty difficult moments from platforming in the later levels to the bosses. However, this is almost irrelevant with the introduction of Rewind, allowing you to go back in time to correct your mistakes at any point. I was using this feature constantly, and it probably affected my overall experience with the game, as I didn't play it the way it was intended. It makes this platinum much easier than it should be.